Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Mindful Moments, Sunday evening. Good to have you all on board here, especially to the first timers who's joining us here tonight, who tuned in. Welcome here tonight. May this episode really inspire you to break through, to become the true authentic self that you've destined to be. So that's what we're going to do this evening. So I'm going to skip all the formalities tonight. I want to get into the real thing tonight. This is a serious evening. We're going to talk about forgiveness based on popular demand, and lots of you have been speaking to me the past 2 weeks about this issue. Some of you say, Jath, I really stuck in a rut, can't forgive someone else, but also I'm struggling to forgive myself. Tonight what we're going to do, we're going to follow the line of the formula, the ancient master formula that we're going to work on as our guideline to deal with the issue of forgiving others, but also forgiving yourself. So the whole transmission tonight will focus on the dual aspect of forgiveness, namely first forgiving others, and yourself then secondly. That's what we're going to work on tonight, according to the guideline of the ancient master formula, the formula that we're going to work on. So welcome everybody again. For those of you tuned in, may this be a refreshing opportunity for you to really learn something very powerful tonight from a different perspective, as we're going to talk about the topic of forgiveness, but from a different perspective, a different angle that we're going to focus on tonight. And later on, let's see if Wally can also join us. He's still having his supper there. No, he's having his candy floss. Can you believe it? Nevertheless, right, so glad to have you all on board. But remember, the way we do things here on this channel is you will have the opportunity to comment, and with my one eye I will just check a bit there on the sideline to see what are you commenting about, which may in return also affect the way I'm going to direct this session tonight. But what I've learned about the previous sessions when we spoke about fear-based beliefs that keep us stuck in the past, in the predictable loop. Initially, it was supposed to be a one session, one episode, and it turned eventually into 4 episodes. So I'm not going to push myself tonight to finish everything necessarily in one episode. We've got 1 hour, and in this 1 hour, I want to do my best, but I'm not going to rush it. That's what I've learned from you. Some of you said sometimes, because the formula is a new concept for many of you, you've never heard of this formula. It's a new, fresh approach towards life. And you will learn again tonight about this formula and how you can apply the ancient master formula in your life successfully, but tonight in particular with regards to your own life in terms of your forgiveness aspect that you need to focus on. That's what we're going to do tonight. And remember, as I said, I want to repeat myself. I repeat because I need to interrupt myself here. Comment below. Please comment below. This is how everything is going here on this channel here, where you will have the opportunity just to comment. My microphone is giving me a bit of feedback because when I get excited, there's a bit of feedback coming through. So I'm just creating a bit of distance between me and my microphone. We're having a nice relationship, a distant relationship. Right, let's get to the real thing tonight. So many of you agree with me, will agree with me. I am struggling with forgiveness in a certain area of my life, but one of the biggest strongholds in our life that we suffer from is when we struggle to forgive ourselves. And this is what we're going to jump in tonight. Remember, I always say this is your opportunity to relax, to reflect, and to reset yourself. What you are learning here tonight, what you're absorbing here, to reset yourself going forward and to make a new shift, a radical shift in your life. As we always say in this group, It's not about getting fixed. We are not in the fixing business here. We are learning here to reset ourselves, to shift into another dimension in terms of a new mindset. And that is what we're going to do tonight. So let's just get into the real thing tonight. The topic, as you all know, on different platforms, whether you are tuned in on Facebook or on YouTube, is forgiveness. And the subtitle there is to find your path back to your authentic self. Because when we are not in a state of forgiveness, no grace granted, no grace received or experienced, you are not operating in your highest excitement, and you are not operating according to your authentic self. So that's the issue that we are focusing here tonight on. And I would like to really jump in tonight by saying this is the formula, the ancient master formula. And tonight we are adjusting the formula within the context of forgiveness. So the formula says you need to act on what excites and what inspires you the most, which in other words is your highest excitement, without any attachment or expectations or insistence to the outcome. And while you react or you act on your highest excitement, you do it to the best of your ability in a way that feels true and authentic to who you really are. And when you follow this formula, part of the formula is you go with the flow and you trust the process, what you are following when you act on your highest excitement, and the reward and the guideline and the consequence of following this is the last part of the formula, namely synchronicities that will follow. And more on that in a later episode. But tonight, this is what we are following. This is the guideline within this framework that we are talking about forgiveness. And I tell you, you've never heard of this formula in context of the forgiveness topic. This is quite new, eh? All right, it's quite new. So let's see if this new perspective can't bring freedom, liberation, and deliverance into your life tonight. You deserve it. Now, forgiveness, according to this formula, is quite amazing. You must understand that forgiveness is never an act of condoning wrongdoing or excusing the harm that someone has caused to us, or if you need to forgive yourself, the harm that you've caused to others. So it's not about condoning it. Get it right tonight. You need to understand that, because many people think that if I have to forgive, it means I have to condone the wrongdoing or excusing the harm. But you must understand, here it comes as part of the formula. It's a vibrational shift that you are partaking in or activating in your life that allows you to return to alignment with your true, authentic self. So it's a vibrational shift. And to understand it even better, that forgiveness is not about the other person. It's not to make the other person feel better. It's about your own freedom. You're doing it for your own self, for your own pathway that you are following, to react on your highest excitement, to respond to it. It's that. And react on that, your highest excitement, that will bring freedom to your life and excitement eventually. You see, forgiveness, in other words, is the recognition in your life that nothing has actually gone wrong on your journey. Now, this is something you're going to have to really chew on. Forgiveness is the recognition that nothing has actually gone wrong in your journey. It's an understanding that every experience that you've had so far, including this aspect of that you're struggling with, to forgive others or yourself, these experiences serve your evolution, your growth. It's there in your pathway to grow, especially the most painful ones. So if you want to say tonight, it should never have happened. You know, some of you are stuck in the shouldn't and the wouldn't and the couldn't mindset. Nope. It's part of your journey. It's part of your growth. You see, in this perspective, what I'm sharing with you tonight, forgiveness is not granting a favor to someone. It's not giving a favor to someone else. It's a release valve that we are activating here. So tonight, as you are learning from a different perspective, I want you to picture now a release valve in your mind. And the moment when you apply forgiveness, that release valve is activated and the obstruction is moved. It's a sacred reset. Because when you forgive, you are stepping into the supernatural, the quantum field, the domain, the field of all possibilities. It's a sacred domain that you are entering. And it becomes a way to reclaim your energy from a moment you've trapped in it. So that's what's happening. You reclaim your energy. And that release valve that you activate causes an enormous shift in the spirit realm, in the domain of all possibilities, in the quantum field, as we say it, from a scientific point of view or from a spiritual point of view. It's all the same. You heard so far that science and spirituality and faith, they work together. They're never in opposition with each other because it all comes from the same author. So this is what forgiveness is according to the formula. It's an energy shift. And when you see it in this way, you are moving closer towards the aspect of the formula, naming acting on your highest excitement, because unforgiveness will obstruct it. You get it? Tonight you hear I'm speaking on a different vibrational level. I'm not speaking from the physical mind on this topic. I refuse to speak to you on a lower vibrational aspect or on this matter. We are tapping into the higher mind. How the higher mind? You need to tap into your higher mind. If you dare to carry on operating in your lower mind when it comes to unforgiveness, you will be trapped in the state of judgment. And judgment brings illness. You need to shift. We all have these parts, the lower part and the higher self. It's a choice. That's a choice. Which part do you want to shift in? The condemnation part, which is the lower self, the physical self, or the higher self, the Christ conscious mind? Now, here are 4 reasons why people struggle to forgive. 4 reasons. And there are deep layered reasons why forgiveness feels so hard for many of us. And at first, you will just feel the emotion of bitterness, resentment, hatred towards others or yourself, but you don't really know why it is so difficult to forgive. Here it comes. The first reason why we are struggling to forgive is got to do with your identity attachment. Now, sometimes we cling to the wound that we've experienced or sustained to others, or the wound of unforgiveness towards ourselves, because it has become part of our identity. You are so used to the state of bitterness. See, let me show you how the attachment is working. I am the one who was betrayed, or I am the one who betrayed others. That's the identity attachment. I betrayed my loved one, or someone betrayed me. Here's another example of identity attachment. I am the one who was abandoned, or you abandoned me, or I abandoned you. So it's an issue of betray, and it's an issue of abandonment that's causing the attachment to the issue of non-forgiveness. Do you relate to it? Betrayal and abandonment. I want you to identify these aspects tonight. Why it's difficult for you to forgive? Because of betray and abandonment related to the identity attachment. And letting go of the pain can feel like losing a piece of yourself. It's like cutting out cancer, which has become part of you, but the cutting out is painful. But you need to let go of the cancer because the cancer is spreading to the rest of your body. Of course it's painful to cut out that part which is toxic. But the cancer is not you. You are not the cancer. It needs to be removed. The second reason why people struggle to forgive is the fear of invalidation. Because many fear that forgiving someone means saying, what happened to me was okay. Remember I said in the beginning, we condone it. But it's not about approval. It's about freeing yourself from being emotionally handcuffed to the experience. So many times, that's why we struggle to forgive, because of the fear of invalidation. Then when we forgive, it's like my story of what happened to me has been watered down. Invalidation. I'm just watering it down because it's not such a big deal. I'll just forgive. It's so easy. And that's why we fear to forgive and struggle to forgive. That's the second reason. Now the third reason why people struggle to forgive is because you have unprocessed emotions like anger, like sadness. You're still grieving. There's shame attached to the loss. There's shame attached to the situation. And it often sits beneath the surface, and this is where therapy comes in, where you need to dig deeper to find the root of these emotions. Because forgiveness feels at this point, because of your unprocessed emotions, it feels impossible when those emotions are unacknowledged or even denied or swept under the carpet. A fourth reason why people struggle to forgive has got to do with their unconscious beliefs that they're not aware of. And I would like to also tap into that tonight, to identify old beliefs, systems that we have. And these belief systems that we have, unconscious belief systems, will block the energy from shifting in our lives. And I would like to just give you a few examples of these belief systems that we have towards ourselves and towards others. Like, for instance, I am unworthy of forgiveness. You know, feel like feeling undeserving of forgiveness can prevent us from seeking or accepting it. I'm unworthy of forgiveness. The next one is that we think, for instance, the next belief system that holds us back is that forgiveness means condoning the action. I'm saying it now for a third time because many of you struggle to forgive because you think, it's condoning the action. No. You see, believing that forgiving someone means approving or accepting what they did. And this is the block, the obstacle. Here's another belief system that people have. I need to hold onto anger to protect myself. Thinking that that holding onto anger or resentment is necessary here for your self-protection. Here's another belief system that we have that's blocking you from forgiving. Like, forgiveness is a sign of weakness. And when we believe that forgiving someone makes us appear weak or vulnerable. And then there's another obstacle that I've heard so many times that people say, like, I must receive an apology first before I will forgive. So it's conditional. So you insist on an apology as a prerequisite for forgiveness. You get it? Let me give you more belief systems. I should punish myself or others first for their wrongdoing or my wrongdoing. See, believing that punishing yourself or others is necessary for justice or to feel justified. That's another belief system that we have. I've got a few more that I can give you to explore your soul tonight. And maybe it's good to listen to this video again, because these are deep stuff that I'm sharing with you tonight. Here's another one, number 7. Forgiveness means forgetting. Like, let's forgive and forget. Nonsense. You see, the problem here is thinking that forgiving means forgetting the hurt or injustice entirely. That's the problem here, that we have that kind of mindset. And it's not the case. Here's another belief system. I cannot forgive until I understand what happened. It doesn't make sense. Until I get the full facts of what happened and why you did it to me, I can't forgive. You see, then it's all still conditional. In this case, requiring complete understanding or justification before offering forgiveness. Another obstacle that I find in people's minds very, very often is that people think forgiveness means reconciliation. Here is the belief that forgiving someone is necessary, and then it leads to continue the relationship. But many times it's the truth that we can forgive, but sometimes it's not possible or practical to carry on with that relationship. And another part that I've already said before is that it becomes part of our identity. And here's the belief system that I am defined by my hurt and my anger. It becomes my mission. You know, many of these movies, are revenge movies that you see on TV, that the hurt and the anger becomes their mission. And the feeling like that holding onto hurt and anger defines one's identity or gives them power. And here are some of the belief systems that we need to become acutely aware of. So as you see there under number 4, these are unconscious. They are not on a conscious level, and they really, really grip us and they hold us back. I hope these 10 belief systems that I've shared with you tonight, you must go back this past 5 minutes, just rewind it afterwards. The video is recording. I will put it on the YouTube channel, The Ancient Master, where you can just explore your own mind, because according to the formula, we are stuck not because of circumstances, we are stuck because of the mindset that we have. And you need to understand and identify your particular mindset, why you are struggling. And as some of you, Cornelia, as you say, it's difficult to forgive someone who refuses to admit that what they did caused you harm. And this is what I said, one of the examples here, that we believe the person must first admit before we can commit towards forgiveness. And that's not how it works. That is a dysfunctional belief system to make it conditional. The formula says forgiveness is unconditional, not based on the other person's confession, admission. Doesn't work like it. What if the person is dead? What if the person is ignorant? What if the person is a narcissist? They will never forgive. They can't. So otherwise, you are held ransomed by that person, and you remain a victim for the rest of your life. Okay? So let's carry on and let's have a look at this powerful principle of forgiveness in terms of the obstacles. I'm going to nail it now further. That shows you how the mind is working and how we are not able to forgive because of these obstacles in our lives. I'm going to name them. I'm going to really be very straightforward with you. We feel, and I'm just going to lean into what Cornelia there said in the group in terms of the conditional aspect. Here it is. The desire for justice before healing. And this is many times in our court system we see it. The person must be found first guilty of the offense and then we can work towards forgiveness. No, that's a path towards, that's for according to the judicial part aspect. But I'm speaking tonight from a different angle, from a spiritual angle. It works differently. Okay? So the desire for justice before healing, if that's your mindset, you're going to wait forever in some cases. Or if the person keeps on hurting your feeling over and over. Here's another one. The expectations that the person must apologize or change. Many times the offender won't. They're ignorant. There's no remorse. Here's another obstacle. The fear that forgiving means that you will get hurt again. So you think it becomes part of your identity. Remember the previous slide? It becomes part of your identity. So now what I do, I put walls around myself and I won't hurt you and I won't forgive because of the fear that you may get hurt again. And that's why we are speaking about next time. We'll talk about the power of forgiveness and how to put boundaries in place. That's another aspect that we will tackle next time. Part of the fear aspect that we will use as part of identity, to identity of bitterness, identity on forgiveness, is the resentment aspect, the resentment as protection. And here we believe by holding on to the pain keeps you safe. Does that one make sense to you? So that resentment is your protection. It keeps you alive. It gives, as I said earlier, it puts you on a mission. Here's another obstacle. The unwillingness to reframe the story. And I can now already see that we're going to need more than one episode here. Because I may need the entire episode here to help you to understand the secret of reframing your story towards forgiveness. And as I said earlier, I'm not going to be in a rush here tonight. I'm going to take my time because I want you to really, really just, how can I say, reflect deeply on what I'm sharing with you tonight. So here it is. Okay, Mari, I'm listening. I'm reading yours. Mine is using my children against me. But on the bright side, at least my daughter is talking to me again. I know, I hear you. I'm with you. When it comes the whole time, like a barrage of attacks on you, and it comes from people that you love the most, over and over again. Okay? That's why we say tonight it's a vibrational shift to a higher level when you apply forgiveness. It's divine. It's putting you in another dimension. Okay. There it is. Does it make sense, these obstacles that I've been sharing with you so far? And share with us below if you are struggling really to forgive, in which areas of your life you are struggling to forgive. And your honesty here tonight, those of you who've been sharing here so far on this platform, I really appreciate that, because our honesty is part of radical acceptance, namely to acknowledge what you are experiencing, to validate your experience of what you are going through in your life. Now, speaking of acknowledgement, this is what I want to just elaborate on. I want you to understand tonight that your emotion is information. Your emotion is a record of the past. As we say according to the formula of the ancient master, your emotion is a record of the past. Right? So what you're experiencing right now has got to do nothing what is happening now. It's got to do with your experience of the past. Your mind has stored the memory, and now there's a trigger, there's a flashback, and you're experiencing it now. But it's actually something that happened in the past. Now, according to the formula, the first step in alignment is your self-awareness. So tonight I want to challenge you to bring it to the surface of the conscious level, to acknowledge it. And to acknowledge your emotions, what you're experiencing, because your emotions are messengers. So don't kill the messenger, as we always say. Your emotions are not problems, they are messengers. Emotions are not bad. I always say, I'm not buying into the concept of positive and negative emotions. We are talking here about high vibrational emotions, elevated emotions, and low vibrational emotions. Because a sadistic person can also be happy when he hurts other people, and that's not a positive emotion when he's happy. So any emotion is relative. And when you are sad, when you are grieving, it's not negative, it's necessary. So any emotion has got to do with relativity. It's the energy that's attached to the emotion that matters. That can be positive or negative. Elevated or low vibrational energy, which is heavy. Depression makes you feel heavy, it drags you down. And what you learn about this formula that I've been teaching you now for 22 episodes is to understand it's what you feel is valid. It's important to validate your emotions, to experience your emotions on a conscious level, to bring it to the surface and to say tonight, I hate that person, I'm embittered. So if you say it tonight, I'm struggling to forgive myself, as you say here, Maury, and if you say it, it's fine, it's okay. You won't be judged on this platform because we are following the recipe of the formula of acknowledgement, of validation. No one will judge you on this platform. Because when you respond, when you suppress the anger, when you suppress the grief, the resentment, that's what many of us do. We put up a mask, we smile. What happens then? We freeze that emotion into our energy field. We suppress it, and then it starts acting on our immune system. And last week, remember, I spoke about the neuroimmune field of studies about epigenetica. So, when we suppress these emotions, that's where the problem comes. And many of us have suppressed emotions in order to carry on with our lives, and it lies deep in our subconscious, and there it hurts us. And that's where all sorts of chronic conditions start to manifest, but first mental health conditions. In other words, what we are saying here, according to the formula, is that we're going to have to acknowledge it, bring it to the level of awareness, consciousness, to be honest about what you feel without any judgment. And now again there at the bottom I'm saying you need to ask yourself the question, what belief am I activating right now on a conscious or on a subconscious level that doesn't match who I want to be? Part of the formula, acting on your highest excitement. So that's why I just mentioned in the previous slide the examples of 10 belief systems that we have on the conscious or unconscious level that will cause us not to be in alignment with our true, authentic self, the person that we want to be, namely the person who is acting on their highest excitement. So here's this aspect tonight of acknowledging it, what you are going through. Miranda, I want to read yours here in particular. Thanks for your message yesterday. I really appreciate that. And your message yesterday to me gives context for tonight. Here it goes. I'll read it. If you forgive yourself, move on, you let the other person feel they did not mean a lot to you. You're glad they're no longer part of your life anymore, which is not true. I hear what you say there. When you forgive yourself, move on, let the other person. You see what I mean? When we forgive ourselves, we're freeing ourselves. We are shifting into a higher level of energy, alignment with the higher self. But first, you're going to have to acknowledge it, what you've been through. Some of you also say, let me just scroll back here. Gabby, hello Gabby. I personally struggle with the hurt I have caused to people I care about. In that moment, I'm not aware of the hurt I have caused. The guilt makes me feel like I cannot forgive myself. Miranda, I think you can resonate with that one, eh? When we struggle to forgive ourselves of the damage that we realize now in retrospect for what we've caused to others. That's where the hurt comes. Now it becomes a self-inflicted wound because we are now turning violent towards ourselves through our bitterness, through our self-judgment. And here's tonight when we need to understand how powerful this formula is working in a case like that. To acknowledge it, to bring it to the surface tonight. I like the rawness here tonight. Thank you so much. That's the step that you need to do tonight, a brave step of acknowledgement. Now, here again, can you see tonight, I'm focusing a lot on the core belief system behind the pain. Because every emotional wound that we have stems from a belief. Like, I'm not enough. I've been betrayed. I'm unsafe. And as I always say, these are the subconscious programs that run the emotional script. 80% of our belief systems lie in the subconscious level for the average person until you attend programs of self-awareness and more and more and more starts to surface on the conscious level. That's where liberation lies with regards to awareness. And to move forward, you and I need to recognize that these beliefs were often formed from misunderstanding or fear or even trauma. And now it becomes our identity. And your perception of the event created the suffering, not the event itself. Your suffering here tonight is not what happened to you, but it's how you are responding to it based on your belief systems that you have formed. And beliefs are choices on a conscious or subconscious you made based on past conditioning. And even if it was an unconscious choice that we made, we can change it. And again, let me just repeat some of these belief systems that I've mentioned before, just for the sake of clarity. Like, I'm unworthy of forgiveness. That's a belief system. That's not because of what happened to you. It's because of how you are framing it in your mind. You're framing yourself. Or the other belief system, it's condoning the action. Or the belief system, I need to hold onto anger to protect myself. Or the belief system that fear is a sign of weakness. Or the belief system, I must receive an apology to forgive. Or the belief system, I should first punish myself, or God must punish me. Or let the devil even do it for me. Or on behalf of God. Or for others. Let them burn in hell. I hear it so many times when people speak on Facebook on social injustice. Let him burn in hell. Judgmental thoughts and belief systems. Or forgiveness means forgetting. Or I cannot forgive until I understand what really happened and why it happened. I cannot forgive because now you say I must forgive in order to reconcile with the perpetrator. Or I'm defined by my hurt and anger. Can you understand? These are the belief systems that's holding you in bondage. Not the situation, not what you did or what others did to you. It's the aftermath. It's how you are sitting and ruminating and overthinking. That's the problem. That's what's causing the bondage in our mind, the mindset that we are having and that we need to expose tonight in order to be liberated. These belief systems becomes your conditioning. And tonight is your opportunity to shift through understanding I can have a new belief system. I can change it. The formula says that you and I need to act on our highest excitement. That's the purpose of life. To act on your highest excitement and live according to your passion in life. Instead of dwelling on the pain or the story that plays off, you need to ask the question, what would feel most aligned for me now? Come on, ask yourself that question. What is the ideal elevated emotion I would feel to be most aligned with my true, authentic self? And maybe I'm just giving examples there, to start journaling, to speak to your friend, to go and see a counselor, or to start working on art, or meditate, or pray about it. Because when you act on your highest excitement, it reconnects you with your true, authentic self, not your wounded self. We need to see a new picture, not the picture of the pain. The story of the pain is not defining you anymore. You see, as I said earlier, forgiveness is a frequency shift. And when you choose an action aligned with your highest vibration, your highest excitement, you're already loosening the grip of resentment because you want to shift. And the formula says, act on your highest excitement with zero insistence on the outcome. No but. Because forgiveness is that higher state, the elevated state. And this is not a passive act. It's the act of choosing a lighter and a higher frequency to tune into another frequency than the one holding you currently hostage. And you shift the quantum field. You shift into the field of all possibilities by choosing differently. It's a shift that you're making. It's an energetic upgrade. It's a spiritual upgrade that you are doing towards yourself. And I repeat, it's not about them. It's about your vibration, your energy, your healing, your recovery, your acting on your highest excitement. That's the powerful part of this formula. The next part of the formula says that you need to, when you act on your highest excitement, You do it to the best of your ability. And listen, forgiveness doesn't need to be perfect at once or immediate. It's a journey many times. It's a journey towards that. So therefore, it's okay to say at this point, I'm willing to see this challenge I'm having now differently, even if I don't fully feel it yet. Because it's not about pretending you're okay, it's about honoring your process that you are engaging with, that you have committed yourself with, while leaning towards release eventually. It's like a muscle. Forgiveness is a muscle. See it as a muscle that you strengthen it with small movements, not with force. And this is maybe one of the obstacles why we struggle to forgive. Because someone says, you must do it, otherwise you are condemned. And then you are stuck because you feel so overwhelmed by the challenge of forgiveness. But once you understand, it's like going to the gym. You're not going to walk out of the gym after the first session and you are a body mass looking hunky, you know what I mean? It's a journey. It's a journey where you strengthen yourself with small movements, with no force. If you over gym, what's going to happen? You're going to damage your nerves, your muscles. It's a journey. What we are talking about tonight is a journey. No judgment in this journey. And when we say, according to the formula, without any insistence on the outcome, then we mean by you don't demand that the other person apologize. You don't. You don't demand that the other person change. You don't demand acknowledgement what happened from the other person. Okay? Let's release the desire to win the moment. Let's release that desire, judgment before, or justice before forgiveness. What if it doesn't happen? Then your whole life falls into pieces. Because you're not forgiving to change the past. You're doing it to change your future frequency. Because emotions are frequencies. It's energy. You know what I mean if you feel happy. What kind of frequency you are releasing in contrast to lower vibrational energies. Low frequency. And where there's a low frequency, hey, then you have a problem. It causes sickness. And then, when we understand, we follow the formula, act on your highest excitement without insistence on the outcome, you are now no longer trapped in the echo of their behavior. You are no longer the victim. That's it. Mari, as you say, art, I'm doing my art. It calms me. That's it. You are releasing it. It's not happening instantaneously. It's a journey. But as you always go to it and you flow in the art and you release your emotions through the art, healing comes. Sanet, I'm going to also read yours here. I've learned that you can either be bitter or better, not both. And that you either have problems or peace, not both. Forgiveness sets you free, and self-forgiveness amplifies your faith in the words of Jesus Christ when he said, it's done. It's powerful. It's powerful when you say that, when you're captivating, it's so beautiful tonight. It's done. So, no insistence on the outcome. No, in other words, no condition towards the forgiveness. Now, let me look at the liberating reframe. How do we shift the narrative? How can we change the story? In other words, how can we shift into another frequency, another vibration? And what I want to offer you tonight is the powerful of reframing your story through a lens of soul evolution. Now, what is soul evolution? I've been thinking this week, if we've been made in the image of God and we are spirit, spirit can't be created, nor can it be destroyed. So we are eternal beings. So even before the soul entered into the body, I must have existed in the breath of God. If this is the case, just imagine this is the case that you existed in God's mind before you were created, in your pre-existence, that you and I can't remember before the fall of Adam. What if this situation came into my life to teach me strength, discernment, and self-worth? How else will you learn this in this body if there was no resistance? Or what if I choose this before I was born to expand my consciousness? Now it's getting more radical. And I know it may freak some of you out because we love to feel the victim mentality. But your soul, before your soul entered into your body, you don't know what conversation was there between you and the divine and God. What agreement was there? What if my soul needed this contrast in my life to really, truly remember who I really am? And by doing so, you move from being the victim of your story to becoming the creator, the alchemist of your story. And now, based on this, now we can take it further. Now we can start reframing your story in a more positive context. Now I can say, my reframing belief, because I understand my soul connection, I understand in terms of the narrative, the soul evolution, because I'm an eternal being and I can't be so short-sighted to rationalize everything from my physical mind. I need to open my spiritual eyes to see what happened, and maybe even what happened before I was born in the eternity. And now, with this mindset, I can say, I am worthy of forgiveness and healing. Everyone makes mistakes, ladies and gentlemen. My humanity doesn't disqualify me from grace. I'm worthy of release from guilt, shame, and self-condemnation. Now, you see, the mind shifts. And when I say, secondly, forgiveness does not condone the harm, but it releases me from the hold of that. I can acknowledge, in other words, the wrong while still choosing peace. Because forgiveness is an act of liberation, not justification. Cornelia, you get it? And here's another mindset when we shift into the higher vibrational level. Letting go of anger protects my peace, not my vulnerability. And releasing anger isn't weakness, it's self-care. I create safety through boundaries and inner calm, not bitterness at all. Okay? This is powerful stuff here. I'm helping you tonight to understand that we can shift. We can shift through a new belief system. I'm making it so easy for you tonight, because many times in therapy what we will do, we will let you dig and try to uncover these better belief systems through a journey. I'm giving you the shortcut version tonight to explore alternatives. I'm even spoon feeding you tonight to see how we can shift a choice into a new mindset so that we can release what we need to release, let go of what we need to let go. Okay? But I'm not done yet. There's more belief systems. We've got 5 more minutes that I would like to really nail it tonight. Where the belief system in the past used to be forgiveness is weakness, now suddenly it becomes a strength that empowers your spirit. You know, it takes tremendous power and courage to forgive. It's not for the weak ones and the faint-hearted ones. And because when we forgive, we are reclaiming our power and rise above the pain. I've been speaking the past few years so many, often times on victims of sexual trauma, and when they forgive and they release it, they're claiming back their authority. They're claiming back their bodies. They're not anymore defined by the trauma. It's not my trauma anymore. It's not part of my identity. You release it. And now, with this higher mindset, I can forgive even without receiving apology. Now that I understand the true meaning of forgiveness, my healing is not anymore dependent on others. I choose to set myself free regardless of whatever the other person is sorry or not. Regardless of that. And now, I shift it even further. Miranda, listen, no more punishment towards myself or others. This can heal the past. When I learn to be more compassionate towards myself and even towards the perpetrator, because the perpetrator acts in his or her state of ignorance. But back to yourself, compassion is more powerful than revenge. Growth happens when we allow mercy to rewrite the story of our lives. I repeat, growth happens when you allow mercy to rewrite the story of your life. Here's another reframing opportunity. I can remember without reliving or being ruled by the past or be activated by triggers, because I've dealt with it. I don't have to forget to forgive. In other words, I hold the memory as a learning experience, as a lesson to help others on the way forward. Now I'm not holding it anymore as a wound. Beautiful, eh? I'm not defined by the past. And remember, previously we thought the belief was, I must first understand. There must be logic, then I will forgive. And now you let go of that and you replace it with the belief system that I don't need to understand everything to choose peace. Because some things in life simply will never make sense. We won't understand it. And despite of that, we say, I choose to stop searching or overthinking, ruminating for reasons and start building a new future. And remember, forgiveness is for me. It doesn't require reconnection with the perpetrator. I do not have to be reconciled. I'm doing it for me. It's not for the other person I'm doing it. It's for my own purification, my own cleansing. I can forgive from afar, from a distance. It's a heart. It's a state of the heart. Healing doesn't always mean reconciliation. Sometimes, yes, but not always. But the key here tonight is release. That's what it's all about. And remember, here's another shift when we elevate to the higher level, conscious to the Christ conscious awareness. I am more than my wounds. My wounds do not define me. I am a soul capable of love and renewal. Because my true identity, my divine identity based on my original divine design, is rooted, ladies and gentlemen, on my wholeness, not in my pain. I choose to walk in freedom, not in the shadow of past harm. Can you see? I'm giving you examples tonight of how we can practically shift it tonight towards forgiveness. That's it. You get it? I'm so happy that we could really push it tonight very, very far in this whole journey. And I feel we need to carry on next week, because this aspect of rewire the emotional pattern through new action, we've already started tonight. The way I'm speaking to you right now in the elevated state are examples of elevated thoughts, rewiring it, assign a new thought to it, attach a new emotion, an elevated emotional experience to your new belief system. Therefore, in return, a new neural pathway, new neural reality being created. Now you must act from the new energy. You speak different words. You visualize a different outcome through these belief systems. You respond in a way your old self wouldn't. And each time you do want to go back, you reinforce the new identity of someone who no longer clings to the past. And now, every repetition of compassion builds the wiring of freedom. And that's what we're going to focus on here in the next episode. I think this is more than enough for tonight. You get it? You get it? Okay, this was an awesome evening. Do you agree? Yes. Renata, yes, I love it. We have to forgive to claim back our happiness. Claiming it back tonight. That's what is all for you. Yes. Yes. Mari, fire them. Fire them. Do it. I agree. If it's aligned with your highest excitement to bring peace back into your life, fire them. Let go. I agree with you. Just, yeah, fantastic. You get it. I see you are saying yes. Do it. Sometimes we have to do the tough thing in order to bring healing. Listen, when you fire someone, it's not because of bitterness. You let go. It's part of the letting go for your own healing. Yeah, I think you're getting it. Gabby, yes, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I'm very excited. I'm very excited about this. Maybe, I think Wally must also just add on some of his experiences. Wally? Yeah. I think you must also talk to us about, you told me just before we started tonight that there's also something in your, why are you looking at me like that? I just like you. Okay, we've got a very good bond. But Wally, you must just tell the people here tonight about your experiences this week of someone that you really, really had to forgive in your own life. So I know we're a bit over our time, but I think Wally just need to wrap it up for tonight. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I need to talk to you. So yeah, I'm very, very excited here that Wally. Okay. All right. Yeah. Shut up now. Okay. Sorry. Yes. Tonight I want to talk about something a bit fluffy on the outside, but a bit squishy on the inside. Forgiveness. Yeah, I know, big words for a little guy like me. So someone hurt my feelings this week, like they squashed my fluff a little. Said something mean, and my heart felt a little soggy, like a soggy marshmallow. You know, marshmallows. At first I wanted to growl or bolt a wall or hide under my blanket. Yes, that that nice blanket I bought you. Yeah, that nice blanket. Or otherwise I want to become a professional grudge holder. Which by the way doesn't pay very, very well. But then I remembered something. Forgiveness isn't really about them. It's for me. Yeah, it's for me. So I took a deep breath and I said, Wally, let's drop it. Let's fluff it out and move on. Fluff. Yeah. Fluff it out. Fluff it out. So you guys, hey, everybody, fluff it out. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, fluff. So I forgave them and I feel lighter. So I took a deep breath and I said, Wally, just drop it. And because peace is better than revenge. Okay? Can't you shut up now? I'm speaking. Oh, sorry. So carry on. Shut up. That's not nice. No. But I forgive you, Wally. Oh. Okay. So, Wally, yeah, thanks. So, is there anything else you want to say about forgiveness before we go? Yeah. Okay, that's all. Thanks for listening to my fluff talk. I love you all. Be kind and forgive, even if it's hard, eh? Love you all. I just want to, blow you a kiss. Love you all, eh? Okay, thanks, Fluffy Wally. I love you too. You are so awesome. I really, really love you. Thank you, Wally. You can now go and enjoy the rest of your candy floss. Oh, okay. Let's finish the show. Thank you, everybody, here tonight. Let's stay in the state and the spirit of forgiveness. And let's just forgive each other just as I've forgiven Wally, or when he said to me, shut up. He feels a bit embarrassed about that. Yeah, we're not perfect. We just have to forgive 70 times 7, eh? The perfection of forgiveness. Thank you, everybody. May you have a wonderful evening. Love you all. See you next week. We'll talk next week about forgiveness aspects, but with regards towards how can we look at setting healthy boundaries now going forward in terms of forgiveness. Goodness. Fluffy, my fluffy friend. Take care. Love you all. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Love you all. Love you. Love you all. Love you. Cheers. Thank you so much for tonight.